to start. What does it mean to you? I know I saw some emotion earlier to be the senior men's champion in the city you live in.
I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
You know, I won the mid-amateur back in 1996, so it's been 26 years, but it's the first senior event I played. I could have played in 11 of them, but I chose not to. And in retrospect, I'll rue that decision. But to win in your own city that I grew up in and been representing since I was 14, this is a thrill that's difficult to put into words.
Take me through some of the round. You had the double bogey on 8 and a double bogey on 10. What were you thinking? Did you say, you know, this feels like it's slipping away a bit, or I can still...
I wasn't thinking what I should have been thinking, or I wouldn't have made doubles.
Yeah.
You know, 8 was a perfect tee shot, and you know, I had 117 yards in and just turned the sod over it and actually made a good double. I made a 10-footer to save the double. But there was a lot of holes left, so you know, it was windy, anything can happen, and so I just tried to stick with it. 10 hurt more than 8 because I hit 2 good shots in 10. I was only 15 feet from the flag and grabbed a terrible lie just in the fringe and ended up making a double bogey there. But you know, again, there was a lot of holes left. I really wasn't paying any attention to what the scores were. I knew I was behind at that point. I'm not a scoreboard watcher.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd have to go 3 under coming in to have a chance, and I went 2. So it was good. You know, I guess I've been around for so long, it's just never over. You know, and you don't know what the other guys are going to do. The wind is tough for them as well.
James Varnum makes an amazing birdie on 17. Did you know where you stood then? You knew you were 1 back on 18T?
I did then because my friend Sparky was holding the score thing, and so we checked them, but that's the first time I actually knew. And what a birdie that was. That's not a birdie hole, and you know, he just made a really good 2 there, and then I was 1 down. And 18 hasn't been my best hole over the years. It's cost me a couple tournaments. In the Canadian senior here 6 or 7 years ago, I stood in that tee and I was in the top 10 and I was low Canadian, and I made an 8. And I made another 8 in the club championship here one year. But you know, I played it in 2 under, birdie the playoff, or the first regulation hole to get into the playoff, and made just one heck of a memorable putt to win the playoff.
Yeah, that's an incredible Sandy in the playoff.
Yeah.
Take me through it. You're 25 feet or so. You know, what are you thinking? You know, James is going to be making par more than likely.
Well, I wasn't sure if he was going to. He had a tricky 3.5 footer there downhill, and so I'm being careful to make sure that at least I didn't want to leave myself anything after the first putt, but still trying to make it. Earlier this year in our Victoria Day tournament, Medicine Hat, I made a similar putt in a playoff to win the seniors there. A little different scenario. It's not a provincial championship, but it's still the same mindset and something you can dig down to and say, hey, remember what you did a few months ago. And that's what I was actually thinking. You know, this isn't a lot different from Victoria Day, but it's a provincial championship, but it's still a 20-foot putt, and try to make it.
I guess just finally, you did mention this is the first time you've played in this event. Just can I ask why that is? Or?
Well, they used to always have 4-man teams, and you know, Alberta was always the envy of everybody because they dressed you up so well, and they paid all your airfare and money to go there, and all of a sudden they dropped it to 3-man teams and didn't spend as much money as I thought they should spend, because that's the biggest reward we have as an amateur, is to represent the province, whether it's the Alberta Amateur, the Mid-Amateur, or the Senior. And I just got a little sour about that, and I didn't play in any senior events until I was 59 or 58, even in town. But I started playing in those, and then of course when it's in town I would have been silly not to do it. I'm sure glad I did.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.